What's going on, Jerome's? So the Minnesota Vikings are 4-8, and it's kind of 4-8 the hard way, where they've lost 6 out of 7, lost 4 in a row, and just got completely embarrassed and lambasted the last couple of games. Right? It's not even a woulda, coulda, shoulda, one possession, last play sort of deal. Just complete eviscerations the last 2. Right? And yes, you do have to give a lot of grace to Max Brosmer, UDFA making his first start on the road. What do you expect? JJ McCarthy has 6 starts under his belt. But the fact that this team is just as uncompetitive as it has been, aside from the defense, it's an indictment on Kwesi. It's an indictment on Kevin O'Connell. Right? And I know that both of them just got extensions, but this is extremely unsatisfactory. And this offseason, the Vikings did roll the dice. They gambled a little bit. Sometimes you gamble and lose. And that's exactly what the Vikings did. Also, the Vikings are one of the worst teams in the NFL ever since this. No mustaches. Kwesi, go back to being clean shaven. That's it, man. But, the Vikings, the past on bringing back Darnold and Daniel Jones and bringing Aaron Rodgers, I still agree with that assessment at this point, but ownership may not see it that way. And ultimately, that's what matters, right? Because they're rolling with J.J. McCarthy, number 10 over pick in 2024, highest drafted quarterback in team history. And there's been some great moments with McCarthy. There's been a lot of bad ones. And again, a little bit of leeway here because 6 career NFL starts, right? And sucks that this has become a meme. But also with McCarthy's performance as well as a couple of injuries, the backup quarterback position just sort of got ignored. And, of course, we were talking about this offseason where it was weird. It's like, oh, there goes Mac Jones, there goes Jameis, there goes Flacco, there goes Daniel Jones, obviously. They settled for Carson Wentz right before the start of the season. Maybe there's a reason why Kevin O'Connell kept rolling out Carson Wentz when it was clear that he was dead, basically. And the Vikings, they decided to run it back like in 2024, have potentially the greatest free agent class in NFL history. Aaron Jones, Grenard, Cashman outside. How about that? AVG, Sam Darnold was part of this one as well. And you're thinking, okay, since drafts have been not great, have to rely on free agency. It is what it is, but we can do that again. And then the Vikings threw big-time money at Allen Hargrave, Ryan Kelly, Will Fries. Hasn't quite worked out. And here's the most telling thing. The defense has been solid, right? But Fabian Moreau is the Vikings' third cornerback right now. All right? And last year, Moreau was on the team. He couldn't see the field. So that should be pretty telling, right? Because the Vikings have had injuries. The Vikings have treated their cornerback room like a science experiment. Isaiah Rodgers was good for a game. Okuda's been in concussion protocol. Nudie can't get the time of day. Murph got paid, and after he got paid, the interception sort of went away. And Moreau was your third corner. That should tell you everything. And then the Vikings have had draft struggles. Kwesi, it is what it is. This year's draft, Jackson looks solid. Had a couple of injuries. This entire team has had a couple of injuries. Ty Felton, third-round punt gunner. Tyrion Ingram-Dawkins, when he hasn't been hurt, has had some decent reps. Kobe King no longer on the team. Gavin Bartholomew has been hurt since day one. All right, so yes, you count in the UDFAs here as well, but I mean it's tough. And then you look at the gambling and free agency. Obviously, Darnold allowed to walk. He's had some really nice moments with the Seahawks. Vikings defense sort of got after his ass yesterday, and it's sort of been shrinking in big-time moments. So that's exactly what you saw with Sam Darnold last year, and exactly why Sam Darnold isn't back. Like if he had been better the last 2 games, which part of it's on him, part of it's on everyone else. I'm more upset about the Lions game than the Rams game. Yeah. Beasley is thriving with the Colts. Just had a touchdown celebration or a turnover celly yesterday doing the Urkel dance. Daniel Jones had some nice moments. Obviously, the Vikings made an offer to Daniel Jones. He took less money because the Vikings were fully committed to J.J. McCarthy. Like, hey, if you come back here, you'll be a highly paid backup. You'll have zero chance to win the job. And Daniel Jones decided to take the Colts job. And then the rest of it, like Bradbury had some nice moments early on with the Patriots, but that sort of dissipated. It would be nice to have Nick Mullins. As weird as it sounds, like Nick Mullins was not a good quarterback, but at least he could operate the offense, and at least he could get the damn ball to Jefferson. That's what it comes down to, man. Also, Nahshon Wright. Nahshon Wright potentially could be a Pro Bowl player this year, and he's got 5 picks for the Bears. Yeah, he gets burned sometimes, but he's doing what the Vikings are deficient at right now, taking the ball away. And the fact that, hey, Kwesi traded for Nahshon Wright, but he couldn't get on the damn field. He had 0 goose egg DeAndre Russell defensive snaps. Couldn't even play special teams last year. All of a sudden, he's looking like a Pro Bowler, borderline All-Pro for a division rival. That speaks to everything. Like, yeah, Kwesi gets a lot of poop, sometimes deservedly so, but the lack of the coaching staff for finding or developing talent, you question it. Wonder what the hell's going on. Would you rather have Nahshon Wright or Fabian Moreau as your third corner right now? But yeah. And then free agents the Vikings sign, Will Fries, healthy, solid. Yeah, we'll take that. You sort of got rocked yesterday, but who didn't get rocked yesterday? Byron Murphy. So I like Murph a lot. After he got paid, the production just hasn't been there. Jonathan Allen Hargrave, 2 veteran players that you're betting to get their last bit out of their career. Now, Allen has quietly been all right. Hargrave has been good in spurts, but more is required, especially for those price tags. Ryan Kelly, I love him, but he's been hurt way too often. Rodgers had a good game. Okudah was bad even before he got hurt. Eric Wilson's been a revelation. Love it. Justin School is not an NFL caliber player, like starter or backup or whatever. Rondale got hurt the first 2 seconds of the season. In training camp, Carson Wentz, Carson Wentz was fine, except then he got hurt too. And you got to wonder, like, yeah, there's a little bit of puck luck when it comes to injuries, but what about training methods? What about the training medical staff? What about strength and conditioning? There's something that there's too many instances where it just seems like a pattern at this point. And also, is the team too cautious when it comes to injuries? Not concussions, but injuries in general. Something to think about. But think about it from ownership's perspective. So you're coming off this 14-win season. That's great. And you were sold by Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell like, hey, J.J. McCarthy is going to be the guy, right? We don't need Darnold. We don't need Jones. We don't need Aaron Rodgers. We don't need anything, right? J.J. McCarthy, Justin Jefferson is going to be great, right? Very few hits, no viable quarterback 2 options, like we talked about. Their commitment to J.J. McCarthy probably scared off a couple of prospective decent backups, like Mac Jones, like Jabroni Brisket, like Jumpin' Joe Flacco, and then you settled on Wentz. Very few hits from the previous drafts, and that affects team depth, and you relied on older, injured free agents, like Kelly, Hargrave, and Allen. Has not worked out. $344 million team spending this season, and yes, you do have cap issues that you can clear very easily in 2026. But the offensive line is the thing that stands out the most, where the Vikings offensive line didn't get any snaps together until week freaking 12, right? And whether it's Darisaw, Jackson, Kelly, or O'Neal, they've all had various injuries this season. Fry's been the Iron Man, but you're spending $319.5 million in contracts on the O-line up front. 190.9 of that is fully guaranteed on the offensive line that can't stay healthy, still has issues in pass pro, and also constant injuries, the lack of depth shows. And that's why, if Justin School sees the field, it's bad. Blake Brandle's been fine. Juergens, Huber, Rouse, maybe not ready, but you see all these other teams that have offensive line issues, and they're able to competently get through it because they have good coaching on the offensive line. The Vikings do not. So the Vikings have a high price tag. They're top 3 in offensive line spending, and A, they can't stay on the field. B, there's no depth, and C, they just can't get it together. They can run the ball sometimes. Yeah. But Kevin O'Connell gets away from the run. Constant injuries, the lack of depth shows, like we said. Kevin O'Connell refuses to adjust the offense. He can talk about explosive downfield plays all day, But when you don't have the offensive line, when you don't have the quarterback who can do it, if you don't have the personnel, like, why does it matter? You're just chucking up a hope and a prayer 25 yards downfield. When's the last time the Vikings ran a competent screen? When's the last time the Vikings actually ran a slant? Where's the quick short game? Where's the quick offense? Kevin O'Connell's supposed to be this offensive guru and quarterback whisperer, but he's just so egotistical and stuck in the mud of his plan, his scheme versus adjusting to reality, right? And frankly, you are wasting Justin Jefferson's prime. And Jefferson, if there isn't quick strides to fix the quarterback position and the offense, he should request a trade. And level-headed fans, like, no one to blame him. He'll still get blamed, but 4 no-call, no-show games this season. You wonder, right? Is the team culture broken? So, the team culture is good when you're winning. This whole country club, player-first attitude out there, but do they just not respond to Kevin O'Connell anymore? The Falcons game, bad. Chargers game, bad. The Packers and the Seahawks game, bad. And this team used to have resiliency. You get punched in the mouth, you show character, you're never out of the fight. But it just seems like if the slightest thing goes wrong on a single game day, they just roll over and die, right? And they don't have the mental toughness. They got penalties. They got sloppy play all over the place. That comes down to coaching. So right now, I don't know. Like, this team doesn't have an identity on offense. Defensively, they're kind of all right. They're responding to Flores still. But offensively, there's no continuity. There's no identity. You do like J.J. McCarthy at times, but are you sold that he's the guy, the future franchise guy? Again, give him time, but ownership, the bottom line is, hey, you got sold a bill of goods. You were told that J.J. McCarthy was ready to go, that this was a roster that's ready to compete, and it was stuck together by duct tape and baling wire. And at the first sign of issues, the team just cracked. And it's been a complete and utter embarrassment the last 2 weeks. Yeah, you got 5 weeks to salvage something, look a little better, have some continuity and purpose and momentum going in 2026. But absent that, even with extensions, no one's job should be safe. Because if you're ownership, you don't like getting embarrassed, and also you don't like spending that much money to be embarrassed, and also being sold on the quarterback position and getting embarrassed. That's what it comes down to. And the Vikings, they gambled this offseason, and sometimes you gamble and lose. And that's what's looking like right now for the Vikes. But your thoughts are thoughts. Let us know. Comment section, you guys are the best to do. Skull production value.